Are you guys in here? Let's find the chat. I was also trying to put some boobs up before we hopped on. All right, let's see. Live chat. All right, perfect. Can you guys hear me? So I don't know why when I'm getting ready to go live from my iPad, it always makes me do like the vertical view situation, which I really don't like. Can somebody put something in the chat to let me know you see me, or do I need to pull it up from my phone? Okay, Tanisha. I guess you probably already. All right, wonderful, Kristen. All right, cool. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. You're probably already on it since it's Friday night. You guys know I do. I honor Shabbat typically. And so, I mean, right now I'm technically not honoring it because I'm on technology, but I am talking about the Lord's work, you know? Like, at least that's my thought process. I'm talking about the Lord's work. Anyway, so today I want to talk about instant manifestation and acting as if. Let me scratch that. I want to talk about instant manifestation and moving in the it's already done, it's already manifested, okay? Um I decided I want to start with my favorite Bible verse, and I don't even know why I want to look it up, being that I know it by heart. If you guys know what my favorite Bible verse is, I've said it a million times, but you'll get used to it. It is Hebrews 11:1, and I never know anything in the Bible, so it must be the actual scripture, my favorite. And I don't even know why I did all that flipping and I got all this, all this plus notes in here. Hebrews 11:1. And one of the reasons that I want to just start out with this before we get started is because manifestation is faith. That is literally all manifestation is. And faith is manifestation. So, I have a Catholic Bible, which is so funny for those who know me. You know, I'm Jewish, right? And then I have a Catholic Bible. It's like the most hilarious thing in the world. Um, Hebrews 11:1 is, I'll tell you what it is and out like the New King James Version. It's now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And this, which is my actual study Bible, like I literally highlight in it, I take notes, etc. It's now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. And the reason I wanted to pause and start here in the conversation today of manifestation, as opposed to faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Assurance carries a different heaviness. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for. And when we think about the word assurance, when you think like I'm assured, blah, 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 blah. When you start thinking about the things that it is that you desire to manifest, when you start thinking about the things that you want in your life, when I think the substance of things hoped for, hope is one of those words we use, but it's not really my favorite word. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. But when we say it's the assurance, that means that with faith, you are assured that you have the things that you want. And I'm going to start, I was like, whenever I do a live, whenever I do a training, I'm going to start with this because, I mean, it's my favorite scripture for a reason, all right? So faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction. You are convicted. You know that you are going to have the things that you are assured, things that you have been promised, things that's stored up in the heavens or the quantum realm for you. And so, let's finish that actually. That's my favorite scripture, but let's finish this because the rest of this is kind of good too. For by it the men of old received divine approval. By faith, we understand that the world was created by the word of God. God lives in you as you. So your word creates the things that you desire. Your word is the creation. By faith, we understand that the world was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was made out of things that do not appear. So maybe I should stop saying 11:1. I mean, that is the main scripture, but 1 through, what is that, probably 3? Yep, 1 through 3. I love it. Write that down, go back to it, and look at it in different like King James, different types of Bible. Like I said, I have the Great Adventures Bible, which I really love, the Great Adventures Study Bible, but that scripture just kicks off everything in my life for me. Whenever I'm talking about manifestation, I'm always talking about faith and understanding that our word is what literally manifests everything in our life. Our word is what brings everything from out here in the ethos into our current life. So a couple things I want to talk about today. I want to talk about instant manifestation, the fact that manifestation actually happens like that. And then I want to really talk about you acting as if, okay? Hey. When you decide, when you make a decision, and for those who are new to me, I always pause with the word decision and I have this conversation. The word decision means to cut off anything that is not the thing that you desire, the thing that you're speaking. So when you make a decision, everything else that doesn't align with that is completely cut off. Most of the time, people don't actually make decisions. They say they do, but if you really cut off any other option, you're assured, that's that word again from Hebrews 11:1, you're assured that you have the things that you desire. We don't make real decisions. We settle for less than what it is that we desire, thus what it is that we are promised. We settle for what we're given. We settle and we say, well, maybe this is all it is. If it doesn't come in our timeline, or maybe it didn't look the way you thought it was going to look, but you know you're being promised something bigger, right? When you decide what you want, whatever it is, I like talking about money, but in this live, we can talk about anything. Typically, things come down to a couple things, money or love. And you may be like, oh, I'm not interested in money. I want to buy a house. It takes money to buy a house. Somebody's money, whether it's your money, somebody else bought the house and gifted it to you, it takes money to buy a house. It, like almost everything, or health. Those are the things it breaks down to, okay? When you decide there is something that you want to manifest, you have to sit in the assurance that it's already done. And we say that all the time, but I don't want you to think like, oh, it's already, I'm having faith that it's already done. I want you to be assured that it's already done, because what happens is when you make a real decision, and that's where you are focused, and your consciousness, not your subconscious, but your actual consciousness is focused on what you want. And then you decide, I have it. You visioned it enough. You've spoken enough. You felt into it enough. You know that it's yours. So much so that you don't have to keep ruminating on it. You don't have to keep obsessing over it. In that moment, it really is already done. The only thing that has to happen is you have to get in the physical 3D from where you are, or rather it has to get from where it is, and you guys have to align and meet. But literally what you want is already there. So let's take, for instance, you want to buy a house, and not just any house. You want to buy your dream property. And a dream property doesn't have to be what everybody else's dream property is. I tell everyone, everybody else might like covet new builds. No, I like old homes. Old homes on a couple acres, a cow with a bang. I keep saying that, but then I'm realizing I'm scared of everything. You know, a little farm, a little property. That's a dream house for me. Something that's probably going to end up, every time you sit around, I'm like, oh, let's add something. Let's do something. That's a dream for me. You have to decide what your dream is, right? When you align with your dream, because it's easy to fall into what's popular or what's trendy. It's why, even though I'm online, I try not to absorb everything online, because it's so easy to fall in line with what it's trendy and you think you want something that you really don't want, it's not aligned for you. If it's something that's truly a heart's desire for you, God wants it for you. And you have to really convince yourself and know that if it's truly your heart desire, it's what God wants for you. God is in agreement with you for this thing because it's your heart's desire. Let me put my phone on silent. And believe it or not, my phone is on Do Not Disturb, but I knew it was one of two people. If I heard a sound, and that was my son telling me, I see when he get in somebody's car, y'all know my baby's a freshman, and I do still be on Life 360 trying to see, is he on campus? Did he go here? What is he doing? But I silenced it. I do apologize for that. But we often get caught up in what other people want. And we see it so much, we start to think that it's our desire. It's really important for you to get solidified in who am I? What is it that I like? What is it that's the core of what I really desire? And when you know that and it's truly your heart's desire, let me tell you how you know it's a heart's desire. When it's not just your desire today or tomorrow, it's been your desire for some time. You can step away from it, and when you come back to it, it's the same desire. It don't keep switching up. The reason things keep switching up is because it's not your desire. You go with the wind. When the wind blows, you go with it. And oftentimes people have a hard time manifesting when they are like that. And sometimes you can manifest things that go with the wind, and then you get it and you're like, this isn't what I wanted. But your heart's desire always, like, it will always be the same. That heart's desire never change. So say you want whatever that dream property is. The moment you go from I want this dream property, you go from seeing it, walking through the property in your imagination, you're smelling what it looks like, you're touching countertops in the kitchen or the bathroom, or you're touching a wall. Hopefully it's not flat paint and your fingerprints get stuck on the wall. You touching a wall, you are really in the space. The moment you go from wanting it and being in the space to being in the space and having it, meaning you're in the space and you are very well aware of, this is my house, I have this. There is this comfort that comes over you. And that's when you can release it. In that moment, when that comfort hits you, like, I know, like, this is mine, I have this. In that moment, the manifestation has happened. Now, all you have to do is carry it out. And what I mean by carrying it out, you guys know, I really hate when people say no action is needed. Action is always needed. Faith without works is dead. Action is always needed. The action may be you looking at houses. The action may be you increasing your income. The action may be inspired. Whatever it is going to be inspired. It may be you being told to go somewhere or do something or have a conversation. But there will be action. And you just start walking that action out, knowing that that is yours. And so whatever it is, whatever the steps are, it doesn't matter what the steps are. It doesn't matter if you make a left turn or a right turn. It doesn't matter if you got a little bit off track. If you stepped off the main road for a minute, you'll always find your way back because it's already yours. Like, it really is already done. And not even in a hope way, which is why I said it's not my favorite word. Not even in a hope way. It's already done. Like, no, this is, with a period, mine. I just don't see it yet. A girlfriend of mine, I love her so much. Her name's Crystal. She actually is a relationship coach. And that's not true. She's not really a relationship coach. She helps women connect with the love of their life, kind of thing. So maybe that wouldn't be a relationship coach. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, point being, I told her years ago, I'm like, you know, you really teach manifestation, because she would always say, like, he's already there, you just don't see him yet. It's true with the house. It's true with whatever it is you want. It's already there. You just don't see it in the physical yet. But as long as you can see it in your internal eye, in your mind, it's there. It's there. And if you get to a point that seeing it in your internal mind doesn't feel good, it's because on some level you don't believe it's there yet. And the moment, like I said, the moment you connect with, it's done. The moment you connect with, it's already there. In that moment, the house is there. You're living in the house. Everything's to pay for the house is taken care of. You just have to stick in it. Inside of the steel wheel, actually, in October, I'm gonna start. It's not the same. It's another challenge. We're gonna move, like literally move right into another challenge, but it's gonna be like a year-long challenge. We're gonna stick in it, and it's gonna be the Hebrew 11:1 challenge, and we're gonna pick one thing that we are big thing that we are having faith for, and we are really in agreement with God for, and we are going to hold on to that thing knowing that it's already done, and we are going to walk it out together. We are going to make sure we are sowing within the faith and finances challenge. I forgot which day it was, but maybe a week ago we were talking about sowing. We were talking about putting out money in gratitude. We are sowing. We are sowing seeds knowing that our harvest is that one thing, that we are holding that big faith for. So the moment you know that it's yours, you don't feel a way about investing money in it. You don't feel a way about sowing seeds. You don't feel a way about that, because you know that your seed is always on good ground, and what it is that you wanted and now yours, it's there already. So you know it's going to grow. You might, maybe you're not there on the timeline yet, but you know it already exists. And in that moment, like it really does. And it's so hard to explain it, because it's almost like you have to be a level of what people call delusional. You almost have to be like this little ticky ticky boom boom crazy, because other people would look at you like, I don't see a house. I don't see you with this property. I don't see you with this husband. I don't see you with this baby. I don't see you with $500,000 that, is in your investment account, or $1 million. Like, everybody else will look at what's happening in the physical, but you will know that in the quantum realm, in the heavens, stacked up for you, is everything that you desire is there already. And what's happening between the time you see it to be you and the time that you actually get it is you're really aligning with it. And what does that mean? What does that mean when we say you're aligning with it? You're becoming the person who knows what to do with it. You're becoming the person who knows how to handle it. You're becoming the person who knows what to do with a property that's on a couple acres. Are you gonna get out there and cut the grass and do the work, or are you the person that's gonna have to invest $1,000 or more a month in yard work services and getting things done, having to hire somebody? You're becoming the person that's able to handle having that thing. And sometimes it happens super quickly, and sometimes it doesn't. And I always grew up hearing, like, when it comes to like the Bible, God's timeline isn't our timeline. But ultimately, time isn't really real anyway. Like, what could take 5 years, when you start doing this subconscious work, which is also directly aligned with God work, when you start doing this work, this faith work, this manifestation work, you're working on your belief systems. You're literally only thinking, moving, and operating in the you already have. When you are that person, something that would take 5 or 10 years all of a sudden only takes a year. You can go from envisioning something and it looked like it's never coming in the physical 3D to all of a sudden you walk in a room, you meet someone who says, oh, I know somebody who's such and such and such, and you get introduced, and next thing you know, you're living in your dream property. Exactly, Tanisha. You are living in your dream property. That's not a by chance thing. It always seems by chance, but it's not. It's the result of you doing that work that fully aligns you to that version of you. If you don't see it in the 3D, it doesn't mean that you don't have it. That version of you that knows what to do with it, that can handle it, actually has it already. Now, how do you become that version? And that version, she or he moves in a certain way, operates in a certain way, thinks in a certain way. And as soon as you get to a point that you have literally suspended all doubt, you'll be like, oh my God, like, I don't know. I started looking around, and opportunities, doors started opening. And for a lot of people, this happens when they quote unquote give up. And I always found that interesting. I always found it interesting that when you're not thinking about the thing that you said you want, how it comes, but it's because you suspended all doubt. When you start obsessing, when you're obsessing over, it's why I don't like when, people like every single night, all day, you need to, imagine and envision. Like, I'm gonna envision for a period, and then I'm gonna let that thing go, because I don't have to keep imagining me sleeping in my home, and I'm sleeping in my home. Why do I don't have to imagine sleeping in my home when I'm sleeping in my home? I just need to get in the bed and be sleeping in my home. Does that make sense? Why am I imagining what I'm doing? I don't have to imagine I'm doing it. So when I get in my bed and I lay my head on my pillow, guess what I'm doing? I'm laying in my home. I don't have to be creating these scenes, because when I lay in my bed, I'm in my bed in my home. When you get there, it's not this obsession with, okay, I gotta imagine, I gotta envision. The obsession leaves because you don't have to be obsessed with what you have. I really hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say. It's why, like, in the specific one, like I just said, when you get in your bed and you lay your head on your pillow, I like that one, because you really are laying your head on your pillow. Just lay your head on your pillow in your home. That would be a perfect example of laying your head on your pillow with your husband, if that's what you want. Just lay down and lay with your husband. Don't make up these like extravagant scenes. And what's going to happen is, when you literally just lay your head on your pillow at night in your home, your subconscious really will start to shift and have you laying on your bed in your home, because you really are laying on your bed in your home. I feel like so many people who new to this would be like, what is this crazy woman talking about? I really do. I'm like, but that's literally the way it works. And it's why, again, I don't like those extravagant visions, because yeah, I guess you could envision being somewhere you've never been. Like, if you decide you want to marry, if you've never been to Paris, and I'm using them because I've been to Paris probably about 30 times. So I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all know I'm a European girl. Like, I love me some Europe, okay? If you've never been to Paris, you don't really understand how it really feels to be in Paris. Like, you don't really understand what it's like to be near let's do the tourist thing, the Eiffel Tower at night when the lights start dancing for a period of time. You don't really understand what that feels like. You don't really smell the smells in here. You can make them up, but you don't really know. You're just kind of making it up. When it's much easier to choose a scene that implies that you're already there without that part. So if you want to move to Paris, sleep in the bed in Paris. I would rather do that. Let me just close my eyes on my pillow knowing I'm in Paris, instead of making up a scene that really doesn't exist, because it's going to be really hard for your subconscious to actually take that impression as being real, because you don't believe it's real. You'll keep changing the scene. You'll keep doing all these things. There lies the problem. I hope that makes sense to you. So choose scenes that align with something that you actually could ease into. Now, if you've seen I feel like before I archived a lot of posts on my Stephanie Dunnigan page, I think I had from maybe 2011 a video of the lights on the Eiffel Tower dancing. If you've seen it enough, you could kind of tap into it and pretend like you saw it with your own eyes. But for most things, people are making up these elaborate visions. I mean, just extremely elaborate. And it's like, you don't believe this. It stays in your imagination. And the goal is for what's happening in your brain, for what you see internally, to actually manifest into the 3D. But if it's constantly literally feeling like to you, you're making it up, it's not going to happen. But again, as soon as you fully align with that, it literally has happened. And so you can move forward in your visions. You can move forward through your day. You can move forward in how you talk. You can move forward in how you're journaling. You can move forward in the financial decisions you are making. You can move forward making the right decisions. And I do mean the right, because people are like, oh, I hate right and wrong. I mean the right decisions. Because remember I said he or she, whoever you are, once you get the thing you desire, you think a certain way, you act a certain way. To even get to that point, you had to think a certain way and act a certain way. So once you fully step into that version of you, fully, your decisions, you can be certain that the decisions you're making on what you invest in, the things you go look at, um, the way you're moving financially, you can assure that you are making the right decisions because on a subconscious level, you are aligning and have aligned with that person who has it already. You know dang on well that you can't keep spending like a person who don't own anything if that's what you do. Like if you own something, you don't own something and you're working, say paying off your mortgage. Say if one of your visions is like to be online and paying your last payment on your mortgage, and you see yourself paying that last payment on your mortgage, or you see yourself just being secure and feeling good and your home is paid for. There's a level of sacrifice that happens in that, and people are always like, well, I feel like I can do it all. You can go shopping all day every day and pay off your mortgage, but if you take the stuff that you shopping for all day every day and also put that towards your mortgage, you go pay it off even faster. Two things can be true at once. So typically people make decisions, people who are paying their mortgages off in 2-3 years. Like my goal is to buy a property and pay my property off in less than 2 years, if it's not paid for in the moment that I get it. That's my goal. Don't you know people have to make real decisions to make that happen? They have to move a certain way. I feel like I'm missing something in the comments. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Thank you for that one. I think my scene was too intricate. Listen, that's a real thing. And then it just doesn't feel real. And the thing about my little ADHD brain, let me get a little too intricate. 1 minute I'm in my scene and the next minute I'm somewhere else doing something else. And now I'm having a whole daydreaming session. I'm somewhere other than in the scene I was supposed to be in. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Just go to bed. Let's go to bed in your house. Let's just keep it real simple. Let's see. I'm picking up what you're getting put down. Yes, great perspective. Didn't think of that before. No resistance. Exactly. By the time it comes, it feels natural because it is natural, Like you've literally lived in that manifestation for so long. You've been living in it because you knew it was real. I think that's the one thing. I've had so many things that I've been able to accomplish, and people will be like, how do you feel? And I'll be like, natural, I feel fine. And people always say like I don't get excited about a lot of stuff. I do get excited, y'all, but most things, like, I don't really get excited about a lot. It's not that I very much have a lively personality, clearly, but what happens is most of the things that I experience in the 3D, I didn't already experience them here. I've been experiencing it so long, like I'm more so in a state of gratitude. It's just like, of course, like I was trying to figure out what took so long. Like I hope that makes sense. And so if you're still in a state where even getting it feels exciting, you aren't in a state of having it yet. Like, think about the person who, a friend of mine on Facebook, an associate, just got married maybe a week or two ago. And I think about, coming up to her wedding. She was talking about the wedding and the wedding, and now it's, she's talking about being married and posting pictures and her husband. And I think about other friends I have, like at first it's like my husband. They get on my nerves so bad with that. But in the beginning, but then the older I get, I'm like, I'm gonna let you have it. I get it. I'm gonna let you have it. But after a minute, y'all notice their husband get a name? Unless they trying to impress people. Their husband get a name all of a sudden. Their husband is named. And it's because now they're used to having a husband. It's almost like because they're not used to it, they got to keep saying it because like they can't even believe that this is my husband, this is my husband, this is my husband. And like I said, it used to annoy me so bad. Now it's kind of cute, and I laugh, and I tend to say something like, "Are you guys newlyweds?" And they might say a couple years. I'm like, "Yeah, that's still kind of a newlywed, because I recognize what's happening is you still can't believe it, and sometimes it takes years. I think about, guys, my son is 18 now. My Lord, my baby will be 19 in November. But I'm not even gonna lie. Kaden was like 2 and 3, and I would look at that boy. I don't know if nobody else with kids felt this way, but I would look at him and I'd be like, oh Lord, I'm somebody's whole mama. I would still be like, child, y'all, God, you gave me a child. Oh my Lord. What's up, God? You look awesome. Thank you so much, Ruth Ann. I would be like, God, you gave me a kid. What was you thinking? What was you thinking? And Kaden was like 2 or 3. I want to say I probably didn't stop that until Kaden was maybe 4 or 5. Like, he was around for a minute. I knew he was my kid, but I would have those moments that I would look at him and I'd be like, you know, I see people online and they'll make statements like, we the new adults. That's how I felt like I'm a parent. Oh, like, and it's not like, I mean, I guess I was young. I was 24. I was an adult, but I was really like, child, it's the reality. But once you get used to something, now, when I dropped that boy off at college, I really got in that car and I was like, am I supposed to leave him here? Oh, y'all want me to get in my car and y'all want me to drive somewhere else and leave him here? Oh, no, this ain't. Because now it's such a, I never think, oh God, you know, I'm somebody's mama. Of course I am. It has become, oh, this good. It's my identity now. People do make being a parent an identity. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. I promise I did. But now my identity is shifting. I am still a parent, but now I'm an empty nester. And so my identity gets to shift again. When you, I just like, LSU, listen, I'm telling y'all, I still be like, why you think that's my baby location still on? And I'm like, where he be? He just getting back to the dorm. You know, that is a part of my identity. What happens is if being a wife, if you are a wife, that has now become part of your identity, meaning it's locked in your subconscious. You don't walk around and be like, my husband, my husband, my husband. Like, child, what is your husband's name? Okay. I remember one of my old friends, her husband's name was Ike. And she used to be like, my husband, my husband. I'd be like, girl, you know I know Ike, right? I know him, girl. If you don't say Ike, you act like I'm somebody you work with who don't know your husband. We just saw Ike in the house. But at the time, the age, I didn't know how this worked. And again, now it's cute to me. But when something becomes a part of your identity, so like when you own the house and you comfortable in the house, you don't be like, oh, I can't believe I own this house. Because you own this house. So what happened was, or what happens is, I don't get excited about a lot because I have spent so much time owning the house, driving the car, having the money in my Vanguard account, having the experiences. I've spent so much time in that space that by the time it physically comes, it's like, well, yeah. I almost forget that it hadn't been in the 3D because I've been delusional enough to live in it. Let me see what I'm missing over here. Go back up. I've normalized my thing, so I totally understand. You get it. It's like, and people ask me, even when I bought the first property, y'all know I own like 3 properties in Italy now. I'm investing in a wellness facility. Like, every single time people be like, are you excited? I'm like, I mean, not really. Like, it just is. I'm grateful, but that's different from excited. I'm grateful. I'm never really excited for trips. Like, it just is. I was excited the first few international trips I went on, but when it becomes a part of your life, like, why? I'm not that excited. I'm going. And I'm going to experience, but it just becomes your normal. And that's kind of what you want. You want to feel at peace with whatever the thing is. Like, excitement is a dopamine rush. That's not at peace with, like, at peace is like, yeah, this is my home. This is, of course, yeah, this is my man. This is, of course, yeah, this is my woman. That's, of course, you get what I'm saying? It's like a real peaceful, so you don't really get moved because, of course, it's not a dopamine rush. Like, you feel good. Like, your nerves are calm. That's what you want because it really is yours. And so in manifestation, you really have to get to that point, and it really is yours. If you still have that excitement, that anxiety, you're not there yet. me see. It does make sense. I'm trying to explain to my husband that I'm the same way. I'm not outwardly excited. I'm in a place of gratitude. Exactly. Just grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for so much. That no, it's not in the 3D yet. But I had to pause for a minute because it's like, is it not? I guess it's not. I legitimately get shocked. I hadn't told this story in a long time. I don't know if I told it in the video, but I don't know where I've told. I know I've told it. But when I started LaRue 1680, before I sold LaRue, people would ask me like, why did I start LaRue? I literally started LaRue because the year before or earlier in the year, I wanted to buy a property in upstate New York, and it was in Catskills. And it was a property that had been in the same family for multiple generations. It needed to be remodeled. I forgot how many acres it sit on. I want to say it probably sit on like 30 acres. It had multiple cabins on it. Families already had like their timeshare properties there. It had a movie theater. It was a lake. And I'm laughing because, yeah, I promise I'm going to sound crazy as the Dickens when I tell y'all, if you hadn't heard the story already. The property was $6 million. So, like, I'm not really moved by numbers. Like, I'm just ticky boom boom enough that, like, unless something's like I don't know, I'm like a whole bunch of millions, I don't think anything's impossible. If it's my heart's desire, like, I just think it's just money. That's kind of how I run. It's just money. Okay, God, this is what we gonna do. How we gonna do it? I'm here. I'm ready for my blessing. I'm ready for my manifestation. How we gonna make it happen? Well, in this situation, it was $6 million, and it did not occur to me that I didn't have $6 million. It didn't lock in because I wasn't focused on the money. I was focused on, man, this is a really great investment opportunity. I love upstate New York. Like, we could turn around and make money real quick. Now, funny for you to know this was 2020. I discovered this property like in January. So all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. Okay, don't ask me where it's from, but I know that's a scripture. Remember, I told y'all all I know is Hebrew 11:1. But all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. Okay, so I wanted this property. Y'all, that was right before COVID hit the United States, and I am buying plane tickets to go see the property. I want to go see the property in person. Like, I'm putting things in place because I'm going to get this. I really feel I'm going to get this property. And I reach out to my investment banker, and I'm like, okay, what needs to happen to get this property? And he told me something that just blew my dang on mind. And he said, you don't have no. I said, wait, he was like, you don't have $6 million. I was like, huh? He was like, you don't have $6 million. I was like, I have $6 million. And then when I repeated, I was like, girl, you know you ain't have $6 million. But I don't think in I don't have. I don't think in, that's just not how my brain functions. My brain functions in how can we make this happen? Like, that is legitimately how my brain functions for everything. For everything. That's why the 3D really doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care because it's gonna happen. I don't care what it looks like. It's gonna happen. My brain functions into how can we make it happen. And I remember he said that, and it threw me off a little bit. And I was like, but what you mean? And so then I started going through the like, well, how many people would I need to pull together that maybe if I do like a group investment, blah, blah, blah. And I realized I couldn't even get 5 more people to come up with $1 million. It was just a lot happening. So, of course, I didn't get that property. And afterwards, I was having a conversation with a friend at the time who said, how much would you have needed to get the property? I said, me being me, I could have had $6 million with a period behind it, and I would have bought the property with $6 million. But if we're talking about, you know, she was like, no, if you're paying $6 million for a property and like you don't miss the $6 million. If I only got $6 million, I'll probably miss the $6 million, of course, and I would probably be scared. Of course, I'm gonna do it anyway. But then I came up with like, oh, so probably if it was 10% of whatever I had, 60 million. So some of you may have heard me. I started out saying, oh, like I would love to have a $60 million net worth, and then I moved it to 100. But that's where the 60 came from. It came from that property having that conversation. And so when I got ready to do LaRue, it was because I knew, I was like, how do you do this? Like, how are people buying properties that cost millions of dollars? Because you don't you're not getting millions financed actually the way people think for a home. Typically over anything over a couple million, like you catching it, like you going through some stuff. People, you then have some money, or you're doing like hard money lenders, all these other options. So I was like, how does this, like how would this happen? And I realized that most people were even like in tech, or they would create businesses and they would be acquired, and typically with multiple businesses. So when I started LaRue 1680, which was a tea company, I literally started it because it was a commodity. It was something that I knew could be acquired. I started it to sell it eventually. That's how my brain worked, because I recognized, okay, to get here, then this was gonna have to happen. And so that was like January. October, I started the company. By January, we was on the Today Show, Good Morning America, etc., because that's how my manifestation life be working. Okay. But also in hindsight, remember, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. That was COVID year. If I had invested, like if I had just $6 million, I invested $6 million, that would have been ugly. Because how would I keep that up? How would I have maintained that? Like that would have been ugly. That wasn't, like, it wasn't really meant for me to get that. It was meant for that to happen, to open me up to even recognize, like, Stephanie, you are not focused on real long-term legacy, generational legacy. You're not focused on real growth because you're not creating anything that's scalable and sellable. So that situation shifted my mindset. You have to allow everything happens. It's all on the path to that end of having the thing that you desire. And now in hindsight, like, I'm like, would I even want a property that I'm having to manage in that kind of way? And a year later, I bought my first 2 properties in Italy. So I still ended up buying properties. 3 years later, I had 3 properties in Italy. 3 years later, I had 3 properties in Italy, 40 acres in Texas, 10 acres, 8 acres in Mississippi. I do have 8 acres in upstate New York now. So I went from then owning nothing, wanting this property, not being able to figure it out, to life unfolding and me learning lessons that led to all these other things, and then an actual investment portfolio. I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say, y'all. Like, that one thing that, believe it or not, felt devastating. But what really felt devastating is I had $6 million. But it felt devastating because I was like, oh, I can see this. Like, I'm such a business focused mentality, like, person anyway. My heart was broken and heavy. It was. But then look how I've been blessed moving forward. I never even considered or thought that I would own that. But me, it just didn't even occur until it did. So then when I started acquiring properties and people are like, oh, you own all this, like, how does it feel? I'm like, normal. Like, it feels normal because I started seeing it for myself. But it started with the $6 million property. That property led me to get to a place where I could even start seeing myself and envisioning myself. And I was like, oh, that's not gonna happen again. I'm gonna get to a point where my properties are making me money. Oh, Austin, Texas as well, parking lots. Like, my properties are making me money. I am never going to have to stress. But I made a decision, started with that. Right? So we have to recognize that everything that we are creating, all those detours that's happening, it's all lining up to the very thing you said you wanted from God. It's the very thing that you've been praying for. I'd already been praying for, like, God, I want, there were moments when I wanted to take a year or 2 off. I don't have family property. I don't have no family land to go to. I had to still figure out how to work and survive when I wanted to have a mental breakdown. And yeah, I do mean wanted to, like, I wanted to be like, let me just have a mental break. I couldn't. I didn't have the space because there was nothing. And I said I didn't want my grandkids to go through the same thing. And so I wanted to build something for my kid and my grandkids. I didn't know when I prayed that and I started seeing that it would lead to finding a $6 million property, not having the money for it, but the lessons learned there then led me to own a lot more and to really start to build the very thing that I had prayed and asked God for years before. Are y'all seeing how it connects? Y'all seeing that? And so then by the time I started acquiring those things, it was just like, oh yeah, I just bought another property. Thought nothing of it. A couple of them I still hadn't seen to this day with my own eyes. Jackie, you stay in the space by, if you vision it enough, you just there. You're just there. Like I mentioned, I don't know if you were on when I said you go to bed there every night. Like, okay, for instance, I'm sitting in my house now. I'm sitting here. When I leave my house, I'm not like wherever I am thinking about my house because I already got my house. I don't have to stay in the space of having my house because I just know I got my house. Is this space, what you don't want to do is go to a space of I don't have a house, right? That's the catch. You don't have to stay in a space of having a house. Once you have the house, like you're not walking through your day envisioning. I promise y'all, I don't envision this house when I'm not here. I don't. Unless I'm envisioning like redecorating or remodeling or something like that. I'm not envisioning it. Like, I'm going to go home. It's my house. It's sitting there waiting for me. So there's this belief that you have to stay in a space. No, you just don't need to get in a space that is the not having of the thing you want. And that's really all about getting your subconscious and consciousness to a place of knowing you already have, which is just that repeated action of choosing something that's not too intricate, that's very simple, and just sitting in that and being in that. And it's repetition. It's literally repetition and doing it over and over and over again. Not having conversations that's contradictory to that which you desire. I just posted on like TikTok or Instagram or somewhere, maybe even here. I posted about, did I post it here? Maybe I did. You should focus more on your blessings as opposed to complaining. You focus more on your blessings. When you do that, like that's naturally high vibrational. It's hard to focus. It's hard to be in a space of gratitude for your blessings while also thinking about what you don't have. They don't align. It just don't go together. So I think that's where I hear a lot of people teach something that really puts you in a place of anxiety. You don't have to stay in the I'm in the moment of having it. No, having it is knowing you having it and going on about your business because you already got it. I know I'm gonna go home because I got a home at home. Right? Does that make sense? It take me so long to answer one question. Yeah, oh my God. When I think of it, I've done the same when I manifested my time home. When I got it, I was so grateful. But I wasn't jumping for joy. Exactly. Like you're grateful, but you had it so long, you know? You just had it for so long. I'm studying the language of where I want to move soon. It was giving me trouble. I took a break for a few months. Now I'm studying it. Sticking. I'm seeing scenes from a nearby country. Yeah, Sambuca. Now let me tell you, that happens with language. You know, I've been studying French for more years than I want to admit. Often if I take a break and come back, it does feel like I fell behind, but I pick the words back up much quicker and it seemed to stick more. I think that's like a language thing, I think. Let's see. Feeling it real is not exactly necessarily about overt emotion. Exactly, Shelly. I love the constant support and motivation. Yay. I've done similar many times. I stay in it. If I think of nothing else, I started believing it's true. Yep. Hey, Carlo. I record myself talking about a day in my dream life. I listen to it as I fall asleep. I love that. I made it very normal. I talk about what I'm wearing, what I see, what I smell, how people treat me. How do you manifest when you have $0? I don't know, because even if I had $0, I wouldn't have $0. I wouldn't focus on what I don't have. I will focus on what I do have. And I have had moments. I didn't own properties and they've been at $0. Be like, how the hell did we got here? Y'all know I've told y'all I invest and go for broke all the time. I'd be like, that's it. Let me invest that and trust that it's coming. I sit in gratitude for what I have and not focus on what I don't have. When you sit in gratitude for what you have, the doors open and opportunities come for you to have more. But I just don't focus on what I don't have. That will give you so much anxiety. And when you start getting anxious, and you are literally going to struggle with money consistently because you're choosing to focus on struggling with money. That is a decision in practice. It's a decision in practice, and also not seeing zero as not having. I don't see, because I go for broke, like I told you, if I had 6 million and the property was $6 million, I would have spent the whole 6 million. I go for broke all the time. That doesn't bother me because I don't see zero as broke. I don't see zero as like, oh, I don't have anything else. I don't see zero as the end. You could be at zero today and have some money in 15 minutes. The way people show up in my life and just be blessing me. And that's a rule I've made for myself. I have everything I need when I need it. Even if it feel like 5 minutes before I needed it, it went there, it shows up when I need it. I have everything I need when I need it. That is a rule I have made for myself and over my life. Even if the need is something I desire, I have everything I need when I need it. And that's just what the rule is. So we also have to look at the meanings we put on certain things. Having $0 means nothing. You just don't have no money in that account in this moment at 8:32 p.m. But baby, at 8:32 a.m. you can have some money in that account. Not having money, like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, if I didn't have any money in my account right now in this moment, you want to know what I do have? My house I live in. My lights are paid. My water's paid. My gas paid. I have a paid for car in the garage. Trash. We got food in the refrigerator. The cat got food. My son's tuition is paid. I have clothes. My phone bill paid. The kids' phone bill paid. The car full of gas. I wouldn't focus on. You should have went through Faith and Finances. You should have went through Faith. If you didn't, and if you did, go through it again. Go through it again. Because money in itself means nothing. Because you can get it right back. That's when we start holding on to stuff too tight, and nothing can go out and nothing can come in, and we still feel like we don't have enough. Like, you literally cannot have $1 in your account. That bad boy could be negative 1 minute and you have an overflow the next minute. We have to stop attaching meaning to it, and you wouldn't feel a way about it. You just a zero. Which is why it probably sounded a little flippant when I said it, like, I'm just a zero. Because that is just kind of what I've trained myself to. It's just zero. It's not, it means nothing. But typically we put meaning to zero. We put meaning such as, we're in lack. But am I? If I'm at zero and I got everything I need and I'm full. Like right now, if I was at zero, I'm full. Yeah, actually, I'm full. Right before I got on here, I ate a little piece of pumpkin bread. They got a little pumpkin brioche down there at the Trader Joe's. If y'all hadn't had it as French toast yet, you are missing out on life. And if you don't like pumpkin, I'm so sorry for you. Okay, it tastes like a little pumpkin cinnamon roll. I ain't making it in the French toast this time. I put in a little toaster oven, put a little butter on it. That thing good. Anyway, let me stay focused. I had a little piece before I got on here. I warmed up my little coffee that I've been drinking for 25 hours, and I keep rewarming. I'm full. I don't care if I had zero in my account. Are my bills paid? Is she good? She is. Well, you know what she is? Blessed. Well, know what else she is? Abundant. Because she full. Her lights on. Oh, forgot the internet. The internet. And I'm trying to figure out why my Xfinity bill be so high. Speaking of, but I got internet. I got everything I need. Like, literally everything I need. Zero wouldn't mean anything to me. Zero doesn't mean anything to me. It's just the number. $1 million don't mean anything. 5 million don't mean anything. Listen. But don't mean nothing to me. And that's how you have to take the meaning, the emotion out from that money like that. You have to. Get back over here. I remember watching the very first video, you going to the crystal store in Victoria. Yes. I've gone such a long way. Like when I retold the story a couple weeks ago, I was thinking, man, God is good. I don't care what nobody say. God is so good. But what's crazy is like in the midst of, you don't see the growth in the midst of. It's always you can look back, right? Because I always, for everything, even running for office, I was like, God, why you told me to run for office? Like, when I went to run for office, it was 6 of us running for the same spot, and you knew it was going to take over $1 million for a state position. And you knew that ain't what we was finna do. So, God, what you told me to run for? But then all these other doors and opportunities have opened. You never know. Just do it. And you look back and you say, okay, I see now. My friends needed something down in her little town she live in. And I said, hold on, what's your district? She told me. And I said, oh, I know House Rep Gamble. Hold on. Let me text him real quick. Let me see what we can do. It opened doors and gave me connections that I would never have had otherwise. I was like, that was stressful. What you had me do that for? You don't know a lot of things, the steps that you don't always understand how things are being weaved together, being woven together until you're at the end and you look back and you say, God, I see what you were doing. Would I prefer to have God give me the map of everything? Yeah, I have like a little control thing that happens. I would much rather, God and I, we tussle a little bit. I would much rather have the map, and I want to know what each stop is on the map, so I know, okay, so next stop this and this. So let me plan out my bathroom break on the drive. But God don't really work like that. It's not really how it works. And so even though that's very much a clear part of me, I have to be reminded that faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. I don't see every step. I just know it's there. I know what the end result is. And just kind of, it's the ultimate test of God, universe, source, whatever feels most comfortable to you. It is the ultimate test. Because baby, it's some things that I'm bringing to pass right now. And I'm like, okay, God, we can ride this out. But just know I don't like it. I don't like how I don't have a plan. Because you ain't never let me down. You ain't never, ever let me down. I'm right with you. But this made me feel like I ain't got no control. Like, you know what you're doing, but I don't know what you're doing. And But thank God we know the end. We know the end, God, but you playing with me. And a lot of people, like I remember growing up, like, oh, you don't question God. Listen, God is my daddy. I talk to God like, listen, no, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't really like how this going, and I need you to smooth this over for me, because this don't really feel good for me. And funny enough, within a short period of time, whatever it is, I'd be like, all right, thank you, God, for working that thing out, because I ain't like how that was going. Like, can we go a different path? Just get the end result, but don't stress me out in the process. And then I realized the only reason I'm stressed out is because I'm still trying to hold on to control. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. But I've come a very long way. And deep in my relationship, like I even think about during that time, that was maybe a year outside of leaving church. And, I had worked in ministry for quite a while at that time and completely left church. And I had so much church hurt, I wouldn't even use the word God. And look at me now. I got on here. Look at me now. Look at me now. I'm getting paper. Okay. But look at me now. I started out with a Bible verse. I'm laughing because if y'all been here with me for a while, I will randomly sing. This is why I don't go live. My brain really will pull up some random stuff. Okay. Let's get back up. No problem with being late. I was a little late too, messing around with that pumpkin bread. I always show gratitude no matter the circumstances. Listen, I was actually talking to my mentor, funny enough, my mentor who is a bishop. Man, you a bishop. He was talking about something. He was like, yeah, we got 25,000 today. I mean, it ain't nowhere near what we want. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't do that. Because 25,000 is 25,000 more than you had. Now, granted, they put on like an event and it's going to be like 200,000. So I understood what he meant. And also, that ain't what we doing. We go bless that thing. We go bless that oil so God can multiply that oil. My faith and finances people already know we on that with that. So God go multiply that oil. We go bless that oil. We not going to complain about $25,000 because you got $25,000 in about 5 hours. We don't complain because you're looking at that big number. We gonna be grateful for what's here. God go bless that oil. God go multiply that oil. And not only you gonna have that 200,000, you go surpass that 200,000. Okay? Who thought your mentee was gonna speak life into you? But no, we don't do that. That's how you have to be. You gotta bless your dollar, even if you need $3,000. You gotta be willing to bless whatever is there. Let me see. I love faith and finances. I'm so glad you love it. I'm so glad. I just love the community. I love the still well. We're gonna consistently be doing stuff like that. Listen, I can't believe I'm doing something well. I'm talking about God. I know Tanisha like, yeah, and then Bible study. I'm over here like, but here we go. It's really been blessing me and blessing everybody else who's in it, and it just makes it all worth it. I have started not to see anything as negative. I give things meaning. I say even in undesirable situations, some way this is working out for my good. Absolutely. I think that was the book is not down here. I think it's upstairs. The Game of Life and How to Play It says something like I baptized this a success. Like even in seeming failures, I baptized this a success. That is the mentality we have to roll on. I don't care what it is a success. Whatever that thing is. You're welcome, Jackie. Faith and finance is amazing. Yes. Yes, Alexandra is so good. Hair looking good, girl. Thank you. Facts, all facts. He is my best friend. Listen, and if you cannot talk to God, like I don't want, so many people see God as like this scary thing, but if God is living in me as me, my support system there with me, hearing, seeing, feeling, know what I need, like I'm not going to be scared to have a conversation. That's not a relationship I want. I'll be like, yeah, I have a different God than I do, clearly. That's not what I want. Argue with him, but still do it. Definitely go argue. Definitely, the dumb time, like, I ain't finna do that. Definitely go do it. But in the moment, like, I'm not finna do it. I always say you go do things willingly or unwillingly is much easier when you do it on your own, willingly, but you go do it. I was played with this year, was dragged by my little ponytail. Oh, until I earned what I needed to learn. Yes. My mantra, well, that worked out. Why, that's cute though. Well, that worked out. Right. Remember when people be like, but did you die? Almost. But listen, well, that worked out. And if we start going through everything and baptizing things a success and recognizing nothing, even if it seemed negative, like you don't lose, baby. I don't lose. I don't care what it is. I ain't lose. I won something, even if it was lessons. I won something. Sometimes you really do go through things to get a specific lesson that you go need in something bigger. Sometimes we go through $5,000 lessons to bless us on a $5 million lesson. We don't need to get the lesson up there. Like, let me get it down here. And a lot of people don't realize that. My Abba, yes. God is so good. We here with you. Girl, stop. Look, this sounds divine and you know it. Alchemy, that Victoria story is insane. Listen, I'm telling y'all, I still pinch myself like, did that happen? Or I call my friend Nikisha, or I call my mom. Those were the two people in my life at the time. Like, did I make that up? Wasn't that crazy? But it was funny because I normally don't tell people like in my everyday life the story. Okay. I don't normally tell, because people think you're a little wacky. They think you're a little crazy. Okay, so you just kind of have to know that. In general, when you talk about God, people think you're a little crazy. So that's another story for another day. So anyway, I am in my campaign. I was endorsed by Georgia Right to Life, and so since the campaign, we still have a relationship. Because if you ever run for anything, you're automatically endorsed by them. I go to their events. Sometimes I speak at their events. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I was out with the director, and we were having dinner, and I don't know why it laid on my heart to tell the director the story. It was so random because I don't tell nobody this story like in person. They don't think I'm crazy. So I told her the story. Before I could even finish, she was like, so God just go send you an angel. And I was like, so, okay, so we all crazy then. Because, okay, she ain't gonna think, like, she won't think I'm crazy because she the same kind of crazy. But at the end, she told me, she was like, God told you to tell me that story. I know exactly, I know why God told you something, a need that the organization needs. And she was like, thank you. You know, you just really built my faith. And I also think that's part of the reason, like, I don't think anything is impossible. Zero means nothing to me because, like, yeah, oftentimes I get the things I need through my business, often. But God has showed me many times, many times, money has showed up and did not come through the way I thought it was going to come through. Whether it's a stranger who showed up in my life and then disappeared off the face of the earth, or another opportunity. Like, the election was on a Tuesday, and on Tuesday I get a message asking me, can I fly to Portland to speak to this event, and then I'm getting paid like this big, and it's just stuff I'm not even thinking, and I'm speaking about something that's not a part of the work that I do on a daily basis, not a part of the ministry. It's not about subconscious reprogram. Like, there are so many ways. Money can come to you so many ways, and often we pigeonhole it. We decide it has to look a certain way, or we decide that it has to come through this specific vehicle. But God didn't tell you that. And sometimes God wants you to pivot and do something different. But we've decided that money has to come a certain way, and that I'm actually really grateful that that was like the beginning of, it was really very close to the beginning of my spiritual journey. I'm really grateful that that was one of the first things that happened, because that's a lesson that a lot of people still don't have. That money, like, your business is not your source. Your job is not your source. God is your source, and God works through people. So yeah, it might come through your business, it might come through your job, it might come through, but really come through in the most random way. I read a story, and I was like, now God, that would be a good blessing, baby. If somebody gave me a farm, side note, what I'm gonna do on a farm? Yeah, I really am scared of everything. And I was watching something, and somebody had a chicken coop, and my God, it was a mouse in the chicken coop. And I said, baby, what am I gonna do with that? And y'all know I got a cat, but she crap. She saw a frog, and she was playing with the frog, and when the frog jumped, she started, yeah, baby, she ain't no good. What I'm gonna do with that? So, you know, I gotta figure that part out. I gotta figure out how you keep the critters away, cause baby, the rat and the chickens can die. I don't know. I ain't never going back out there again. Okay. Maybe that's why I don't have a farm yet. Cause God, like, Lord, she asking for some. She don't know. She don't know. But I do. I want to go get my eggs. So if we can figure that part out, go get my little eggs, and they go cluck cluck, and then have my little eggs. If I can figure out how to get my eggs and then have my little garden, like, without having to deal with the other stuff, we good. But the critters go, God, I already know. Anyway, so I was online. Y'all know I digress. All right. I'm online and I'm reading this story. And basically, long story short, this guy was gifted this house. And y'all know, I don't know if you know this now, I love Maine. Like, when I think of the parts of the United States I love the Northeast. If I could deal with snow, if I could deal with the cold, Stephanie would live in the Northeast. I love Maine. I love upstate New York. I love, like, New Hampshire's just gorgeous, especially in the fall. I like it in the fall. And Kennebunkport, Maine is one of my favorite places in the summertime in the United States. If I'm not in Europe, I like being in Kennebunkport, Maine. All right. So I'm reading a story about a property up there that's set on, like, not too many acres. I want to say it was like an acre and a half. maybe 2 acres. It was a historic house. And this lady, this guy, he had been trying to manifest this home, and a lady owned it who, um, her daughter had come into town to help her. She had got older. Anyway, they met at some store. They kicked it off. They started talking. He was saying he had been renting, but he moved there from somewhere else so he could find a place, and how passionate he was about historic properties, and how he really wanted to make sure he got a property that could go like on a historic registry, and make sure the property was never taken over by the government. Went into that whole conversation. The daughter takes him to meet the mom. The daughter knew that she didn't want to be bothered with that property afterwards. She didn't want to be bothered with that property at all. And they made the agreement that he basically could have the property for $5 a month, which is half. And after 10 years, he would never have to pay on the property again at $5 a month. He just had to agree to put the house in a trust, in like a historic trust, so that the house could never be sold to anyone that wouldn't keep it a part of like the historic registry. So he ended up with basically a free house. $5 a month, baby. Let me just go and pay you for these years, and let me go on about my business. I was like, see, that's what I need. That right there. Y'all feel me? God, why did that happen to me? Because baby, I'm gonna give you your money right now, and I'm gonna go and get this property. But I love the story. And I've read a couple stories where somebody ended up with a house that was pretty much gifted to them from strangers. Like, you never know how things are gonna happen. A lot of times when we're holding space for properties and things like that, we are holding space for money. And again, I go back to the question about being broke. Like, I just don't think being broke mean anything, because you could not have and still have everything you need. Like, again, are you taken care of? Baby, my father has always taken care of me. Let's get back over here. Let me where I was. All right. Girl, you said, thought I was dead. Still check my vitals on the daily. Listen, I've been there. I just did a video about our challenge, being like a layer on a pearl. We get stronger and more brilliant when we get to the other side. Yes, 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 yes. I needed this. I'm so glad to hear that. What are your thoughts on the nervous system regulation, and would you be able to give some tips on manifesting? Manifesting divine health is how you manifest everything else. Actually, I'm going to do a video actually on divine health, body image. I mean, I'm still working on mine, but most people will notice I look a little bit different. Sometimes I forget. I was looking at a blog post that I did like 3 years ago from when I closed on my first house, and I was like, okay, Stephanie, when you doubt you look different, you look different, girl. I'll do a video actually on it. But what was the first part of that question? So I definitely will. Nervous system regulation. Literally, when you get to a space where it's done, that's nervous system regulation. What happens is our nervous system get dysregulated when there is a gap consciously between what we desire and where we are. And we tend to be focusing on where we are, meaning we're focusing on what we don't have. Didn't I make a video about going into a space of praise? I think I did. Go back a couple of videos ago. I made a video, or I did a live. I don't remember which one, where I talked about like your nervous system cannot be dysregulated in a space of praise and worship, in the space of gratitude. So what tends to happen when our nervous system get dysregulated, there's that gap that is happening right there. And we want this so bad, but we thinking about the fact that we don't have it. Like there's this thing that's happening, and it creates anxiety. If we stop and give gratitude, even if it's for where we are. I like to give gratitude for what I have that's not in the 3D. But either way, praise and worship cannot coexist. Gratitude cannot coexist with a dysregulated nervous system. It will regulate you like that. It was literally You talked about praise in the 48. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what. Jasmine, did you get my message, by the way? Did you get 40? I guess that means you got 48-hour method. We're doing a Sunday. I'm doing a Q&A on Sunday. So check your email. Let me know if you want to join. And I'll send you guys the link. But I'm doing a Q&A, and we go kind of talk like this. Y'all know my Q&A. It's gonna turn into we gonna be talking. But and that's gonna be Sunday, and that's gonna be my ministering for the day. Tanisha talking about doing Bible study. This gonna be my ministering for the day on y'all Q&A. But yeah, you have to be willing to go into praise and worship. And if you're not like a God or a church person in that way, go into gratitude. Go into a state of gratitude about the having, and just allow yourself to sit there. It will regulate your nervous system every single time. Promise you. Go pull this chat back up. I'm in a place of looking for a place. I'm not sure. I'm going back to Atlanta, which is where I lived for 20 years, but I'm currently in LA. Shy, ain't nothing here in Atlanta. I don't live in Atlanta, though. I live in Alpharetta. And people I get mad when they say, we Atlanta Metro. I be like, we are not. No, we're not. Okay. And people in Atlanta be like, yeah, I want to be Atlanta. I be like, we don't, though. We really don't. We don't. Real bad, we don't. Real bad, I promise we don't. Okay. Just pray and ask God to lead you. Stop playing you were so attractive. Oh, you so sweet. I thought I was. I really did. Yeah. I'd be like, but listen, she went short of no man. So I must be doing something right. You are looking good. Something good. Thank you. You're so sweet. Learning to breathe through the parasympathetic nervous system helps me a lot. Absolutely. Oh, and breaths in general? Absolutely. It was a video, Grateful Baby. Let's see. I make a worship songs about my manifestation. Why do I love that? Yes, ma'am, I got it. And I'm definitely will be emailing back in the 10. Okay, good. You know, I didn't even think people might be in church. So, because I did do it during that time. Because y'all know that means wait, hold on. I said I was going to church this Sunday. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I might change the time. I'm sorry. I might change it to 3. Y'all gonna be mad with me if I change it to 3 from 1. Because I said I was going to church this Sunday. See, that's how y'all know I ain't been. Because I forgot. Would y'all be mad with me if I changed it? Yes, Ruth Ann, the Q&A is for if you bought 48-hour manifestation method. It is in the description, wherever the description is. I don't really know where the description is in the live, but wherever the description is, the link to it is there. Nothing, girl, not no more. Girl, we wish that's all we had out here. We mad as hell out here. We are mad. Like, we don't like it. There are no trees. There are no trees. My old warehouse was maybe like 2 miles from me. I drove through a road with trees. There's not a tree. It's actually a shame. We like it. And I'm actually on the Milton end, actually. So technically, it depends on the GPS and the day you look at it, if I'm in Alpharetta or Milton. But even though we still have horse properties, we ain't got nothing but subdivisions. They had to create a new law that no properties could be built on anything less than an acre to stop apartments from being built. It is so, like, we are pissed about it out here. Like, it's a real, that's how we end up being Atlanta Metro. And so I think about, running for Senate, and Cherokee County was also my district, which is up 75. It connects on the back end of Milton. And I really thought it was like all country and rural. Them people mad. You want to know why? Because you might as well be in the city of Atlanta. It is bad. I don't know what it was like that when I was in my early 20s and I live here. That is what Alpharetta was like, mostly true. Not no more. And we are very bothered by it, because it's like you move out because you want to be out but close enough to the city. Like, you're close enough, I can get there in 20-30 minutes. But if we wanted the city, we would have been in the city. And unfortunately, And that's one of the things you talk about running for office, because you know what the issues are. Unfortunately, we're in a very capitalistic society. Atlanta and surrounding areas of Atlanta metro has been getting people coming here from California, Chicago, New Jersey, New York, and the builders see the demand. And so then you have people who they family land been in their, especially Cherokee County, family land been in their family for 100, 200 years, and then they sell it. Then you sell it to a developer, and then you get mad when they go build a development. Why would you sell it to a developer? Oh, you saw the dollar signs, but now you mad that it's a development? I get it. I get the dollar signs, but it's a development. And so yeah, it has shifted. I have been here since 2019, and it shifted from the time I moved here to now. Across the street from my subdivision was trees, was woods. Last year they built, let's just call it a duplex. I didn't know it was a duplex for a minute. I was like, why is two front doors? But it's 3 levels. I thought it just, yeah. Started at 900K, and they put 10 of them on 1 acre. That was the last property in Milton that was like that. That's immediately after they gave them their licensing. They said that properties had to be on a minimum of 1 acre after that. One single family property on a minimum of 1 acre. So they don't want no townhouses. They don't want no apartments. They don't want no duplexes. But it's because it's bringing more traffic. How you got 10 duplexes, 20 families on 1 acre, and these aren't apartments, and they almost $1 million? I mean, but it's the location. I get that, but I was like, ain't nobody finna pay that. Ooh, yes, they did. So yeah, it has definitely shifted here, and like I always want to be within 30 minutes of the major city, but I shouldn't feel like we turn it into the city, and it does count them. It does, and I really don't want to move out further, but because all go happen is gonna move out there. Coming, which is further than me, is just as bad. Like it's bad. Let me see. Yeah, so much growth in the metro. Do you think we collectively change even the government by knocking folks? Let me tell you something. Now, I don't talk about it here often because I don't want y'all to get mad. Actually, I won't even talk about it, but those who know. That being said, it don't matter who is in office. There's always going to be a period where people happy and period people not. That is what it is. Welcome to being alive, okay? But what I have been really confused about is why people constantly focusing on what they don't like. Constantly. On my political pages, I talk about things, but that's because I'm in that political space, and it get on my nerves. I fall off for like a week or two because I be like, y'all not finna, y'all not finna mess up my vibrational frequency. I stay away from it. But I get really confused. Like, does that feel good to be caught up in the emotion of that? Why are you? Because you can choose not to get caught up in the emotion of that. It's been a lot of administrations that I did not particularly care for. And I'm going to be honest, it didn't bother me. It didn't affect me personally. There were things on a grander scale, but personally, they didn't affect me. You want to know why? Because I didn't talk about it. I didn't focus on it. I focused on what was working. I focused on what was right. I understood how to be in charge of my own vibrational frequency. And so I see so many people who should know better. And I'm just like, well. And so it's this book that I have, all my little books upstairs, but it's I can't think of the name of it, but I talk about it from time to time. It's about 800 pages. It's like a textbook. And it's by Russian physicists, and it's basically talking about the energetic dynamics of the earth. And there's a theory he's talking about, I think like in chapter 4 or 5, which is the pendulum theory. You guys have heard me talk about the pendulum theory many times. And what we all we're seeing, the reason it's happening is because it's a pendulum. And politics is a pendulum. Liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, it's a pendulum, right? Just like Beyonce has her pendulum, she has the beehive. Taylor Swift has hers, she has the Swifties. Like, those things are pendulums. Anything that gathers people and people's energy. And so when I am looking and I am seeing people all up in arms about certain things, I'm like, you guys are letting that energetic pendulum eat you the hell up. And you're the only one mad and upset. And guess what? Everybody you mad and upset about, or it's just you. Because they going home enjoying their life every single day. You're letting these things eat your energy, soak your energy, and they feed and they thrive. If Americans as a collective would stop giving a lot of things energy, a lot of things you worry about wouldn't even affect you in the way it is. Like you're giving it energy and allowing it. So you got to quit surfing. Thank you. That's somebody who's been watching me for a while. Let me see who was that. Yes, yes, yes. Reality surfing. Yes, thank you, Ricky. I appreciate that. But you are literally letting it feed off you. And it's weird. And people ask me all the time, they're like, man, politics is so stressful and so ugly. I'm like, It's like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't let y'all get on my nerves. I ain't gonna let y'all get on my nerves. I'm gonna say, I am very unemotional about things. I am very, cause see, I live in my own world, in my own thought universe. I don't let y'all get on my nerves. I was on CNN and I knew when I walked in, they said, Stephanie, you sit in the middle. I said, oh, hell. I just walked into an ambush. I knew what I walked into. And I said, but I got this. I can hold my own. It got so ugly. I was like, whoa, one person on this side of me, she's screaming. She want to bite my head off. This one over here, like, I just feel like you don't understand. I'm looking at them like, man, y'all are emotionally dysregulated. Like, you guys are, you're letting this eat your, nothing moves me in that way. And even if I thought I wasn't going to be like that, like even if I wasn't, once I started actually moving and operating in politics, I wish y'all would trust me on what I'm about to say. Y'all crazy as hell if you let that stuff get on your nerves. You crazy as hell. Ain't nobody for you the way you think. Like, control what you can control your world. Y'all arguing about stuff that's silly as hell. Please leave it alone. But it gets you so caught up. And then you see your friends on social media talking about it. You see your family. You just be like, trust me. I wish I could say more without messing my own situations up. I think about stuff like Scandal, and I think about how the reality is. The public isn't like, if the baby, make sure your life good. Make sure you are focused on you, what you're doing, have self-belief, focused on how you moving in life. Make sure you are manifesting the things that you desire. When you start creating your world and people see you doing that, and then they start asking you questions about how you did it, and then you influence people, teach people, don't focus on it. Because you wasting your time, you wasting your energy. And I don't care who in office, you wasting your energy. Even if you like them, you're wasting, like, unless you're working in that space, find something else to do. I'm trying to see if I'm a little crazy to be in it. That's why often you will see me, if you connected to me on those pages, you see me, like, I don't post for a couple of days. If I do, I might just share other people's stuff, but I don't really be, you're not finna, not my energy, you're not. I don't even want to, I feel like when people pay for it, I feel like I have to talk about it all the time. I don't want to. But what I do want y'all to do is to protect your energy. I want you to protect your energy. You cannot be in that sort of energetic space and manifest money. Matter of fact, I was out with some political friends, and I'm gonna tell y'all how bad I am. It was two girlfriends. Two were sitting over there. I'm sitting on this side. We had lunch. I was in the conversation at first, but we was just talking about regular, like, women stuff, men. And then they started talking about politics. I'm in the middle of politics. Yeah. I was eating. I was like, and they said, Stephanie, what you think? I said, I wasn't listening. And they asked me, and I said, I don't think nothing. I said, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm manifesting some things in my life right now. I'm praying and asking God for some things. I'm not gonna get energetically caught up in that. If y'all have seen the way they looked at me, you gotta learn to do that. And again, I work in the political space on part of my life. I am not getting caught up. You might see me say, when I make a video online, I get the hell off and go on about my business. And in real life, that ain't what we doing. Please remove yourself. Please remove yourself. It ain't necessary, because I'm not gonna argue with you about your beliefs, and I'm not gonna argue with you about my beliefs. I'm not gonna do none of that. But what I know is that I'm over here in the middle of a fast, and I'm in the middle of manifesting, and I'm in the middle of working on some stuff, and that energy, that don't do good over here in my space. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all have to be willing to remove yourself. And y'all not finna get on my dang on nerves. I promise you not. I live in a bubble. You have to. Listen. Thank you for all you do. So grateful for all you teach. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. You can't worry about nothing. You can't control. Exactly. And all you can control is your thoughts and what's coming into your world. And when things, if you know you don't feel good with certain things, you can't let them penetrate. Whatever it is. It's just that unfortunately we're in a time where that's where people are focused on, especially in certain groups and certain, but you gotta let them focus on it. And then you just move on. That ain't got nothing to do with you. And I hate to say this, the government ain't really got nothing to do with you either. Not that you can control. Not for real. Focus on your world. Focus on yours, babe. But Trina, your email must still be full, boo, because I resent it to you. Did you clean your email inbox? I actually sent it to you too. We gonna change the time though. Y'all gonna be so mad with me. It's bad in zone 6 for this. Listen. I love how Black people are saying we are taking a break for 4 years. But they ain't taking a break though. That's the problem. Black folks ain't taking a break. They loud, just as loud as can be. Black folks, and they say that, and then they right in the middle. Nobody's taking a break. That's a lie, though. They say it and then be right in it. I be like, and all that does again is contribute to the problem. And then I always say, like, what is taking a break? Because what were you doing actively in the first place? Like, think about it. Unless you're working directly in politics, you weren't doing nothing in the first place. You were literally doing nothing but living in this country and existing. So when I hear people say that, I'm like, even in that stance, that's putting out negative energy. That's a part of a problem, you know? But people don't see it that way. I say it all the time. I don't know where I posted this, but things you really don't care about, you don't talk about. If you really don't care about it, like you don't talk about it. People are being herded like cattle emotionally to take sides on issues. And people can't even think for themselves. It's true. People are being herded. And it's weird. My family's irked and I don't care. I don't discuss it. What my mama really be trying. And my mama tried because we are on different sides of the political spectrum. And even at holidays, I ain't even looking forward to Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be like them. Oh, this dressing good. Wait, I think we at my house this year. I'm gonna turn the TV on or something crazy. But I promise you, it's all the time. You just have to learn how not to let, and especially when I'm in manifesting mode, I'm not letting nothing, can't nothing get under my skin. Like, you just can't, because you finna mess me up. My little man, I'm gonna be like the old people, my little old man, he upset me the other day, and I said, hey, I can't have this. You can't get on my nerves. You can't be messing with you can't get on my nerves. I'm trying to manifest the stuff. You can't get on my nerves. Because then I got to quit talking to you. Don't get on my nerves. I don't care who it is. I tell my son. My son was messaging me about something this earlier today. I said, hey, I handled this already and you went and messed it up. You're not finna get on my nerves. I would tell anybody you're not finna get on my nerves. But what I mean is, like, you're not going to disrupt my chi. You're not disrupting my peace, because in this peace is where my manifestation is. Don't get on my nerves. And we all gonna be happy if I'm happy. I promise you. it's just a physical solidification. Exactly. Wait, hold on. You say yes, you did. Well, why you ain't get it? I try to resend it. I definitely call you. I definitely will. Don't play. I knew what you meant. Um, you said it's a huge difference. Listen, you cannot steal my peace. So what's interesting when we have a conversation as it relates to sin and things like biblical sin, or are we speaking of on a level of manifestation? I think sin is living in a space that God did not ordain for you. When I'm not moving, thinking, and operating in the way the Lord designed me to, which is moving in faith, moving in positivity, moving knowing that He controls everything, I believe that is sin, right? So it depends on how you think of sin, or are you thinking of sin of as like the biblical laws? And interesting enough, even around that, I think the biggest part of that is the guilt that you feel for the sin. There's a reason one person can, people can be robbing. We're not like robbing in like smash and grabs because they don't have great lives. Because you're smashing and grabbing. Why don't you put yourself anyway? Yeah, I live in Atlanta, suburb, um, but like robbing, overcharging tenants, that kind of stuff, right? They're living good lives. They don't feel any guilt about it. A lot of times what happens when people get a physical representation of the evils that they are doing, whatever that is, low vibrational things they're doing, it's their guilt connected to it more than anything else. That's why when people be like, they go get theirs, I'll be like, they might not though. Because if they don't feel that they're living and doing anything wrong, the connection happens when you start feeling guilt about the way you're moving. If you don't feel, yeah, right, scamming, thank you. I'm like, wait, y'all know what I'm trying to say. If you don't feel any guilt about the way you are moving, then you won't have the same kind of results. What happens if you have a consciousness about something, your ethics, your integrity, your values, when you're moving against those things, then it's a result. But people who don't believe in biblical scripture or biblical law, they don't have the same kind of repercussions. But why is that? It's because that they have literally locked in. Like we have those repercussions because we start to feel guilt. Like, should I use this example? I don't know. I'm grown. But I remember when I used to have guilt for sex outside of marriage. And now if I want to be having sex, I'm gonna have sex. Like I don't feel any guilt if that's what I want to do. I don't feel any guilt because that's my decision. And that's what I don't, but I had to release that. I had to release that. Because when nobody in the Bible married, no way. Now, let me be clear. This is not me telling y'all to go out and be happy, because I don't. I don't be doing the do with no, like, but if I want to, that's my business, and I won't feel a way about it if that's what I choose to do. But I remember a time when I had so much guilt when I was in the traditional church. I had so much guilt if I chose to have sex. And I would go to church on Sunday and I would be all repentant. And then I'm turn right back around. And me and my man would be having sex. Like, you think I'm in long-term 5-year relationships and we ain't okay? We ain't. Uh-huh. You get what I'm saying? You following me? But I lived in guilt and it showed up. But that was because of my own values. Deep purple, I'm just saying. Right? So I had to let that go. And then once I did, like I don't feel any guilt. I feel worse if I probably feel bad for being with folks who wasn't up to my standards. I might feel bad about that, but not just because you know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. Whew. That's the good part about my baby not being here. I don't be whispering no more. I'm gonna watch this about 5 more times. It's so long. We going on literally, what's this, about an hour and a half? Y'all, this is ridiculous. I go around singing and whistling and crapping people leave me. You said that before, saying when you say people look like, what did you just make up? That is hilarious. Um Accountability, are y'all accountability partners? But it's facts. Um Listen, I hope y'all know what I'm saying. Like, I really don't like using these examples, but I think about like cult leaders or like the Nazi regime. I really hate using those examples. But people who tend to run these different regimes, like they don't think they're doing anything wrong. Like they have attached, they're doing it for a good reason. And people say, like, yeah, they end up dying, like America killed them or something happened. But ultimately, they like in their life, like we were dying anyway. In their life, they were fine. They lived fine. And people are like, why? Because they were bad. People, they're bad to you based upon your view of right and wrong. They didn't get that same view of right and wrong. So if they didn't get that same view of right and wrong, they don't have any subconscious conditionings and beliefs that by doing A, this means you're a bad person. For them, by doing A, whatever their mission, the mission or the thing that drives them is, that's their excuse. Think about poor people who, let me add that, because this ain't just about being poor, because this ain't all poor people. Trust me, because I be when people be like, oh, it's because they poor. I'm like, yeah, that might have contributed to it, but you are absolutely just a freaking hoodlum. People who doing smash and grabs, you at the red light. I'm thinking about the water boys who grab somebody's phone, or I heard somebody get stupid, gave the water boys their cash app, and they didn't cash app $3,000 to their cash app account, like that kind of stuff. Like, people make excuses for them and say, oh, but it's because they don't have. Well, those people who did something on a larger scale and murdered people and did something, in their mind, they did it for the right reasons too. But ultimately, all of it is wrong if we're looking at just right and wrong and good and evil from a surface base, from our mentality. But the people who doing the smash and grab, they thinking like, oh, I'm taking from the rich. I'm finna get mine too. And they mind they right. Now, again, I don't get how you think you okay. I don't get how you think this acceptable. I don't get how you think this is right, but that's based upon who I am and what my values are. Hell no. No. You guys follow me? So it's like when people recognize, people put so much judgment on like, oh, when they wrong, they're wrong to you. Yes, they wrong to me. I just don't deal with people and be surrounded with people who have those. When I find out we got different views of like that kind of stuff, I'll be like, okay, well, you stay over there and I'll stay over here. Hmm. Baby Keela, quit playing. I'm surprised I'm still on live too. I just told them we might have to keep that call at 1 o'clock because the way I'm talking, if we do 3 o'clock, we gonna be on to 6 at night. My lord, why? How y'all get me on this? This is why I don't really go on live like that because we don't know how to get off. You not the that, listen. I just said about the Q&A. It's about maybe I keep it at 1 and I just want to go to church. You said hours. Listen, we might have to keep that thing at 1 because it probably is. It probably is. And we gonna be on Zoom too, so we are actively like talking. Child, imagine me here by myself like this, and I'm just reading y'all comments. The people who want to be here, yes. I let somebody get me off. I stay letting somebody get me off track. Baby, I stay letting somebody get me off track. Stay. Anyway, what was I talking about? I don't know. But the point being, we really have to realize like this idea of right and wrong. And so sin really doesn't affect manifestation unless you believe in a sin. Does that make sense? Like if you have guilt around whatever that thing is, then it absolutely is going to affect your manifestation. So it's all about the meaning you attach to whatever the thing is. I feel like everything goes back to being off track and the meanings that you put on it, being off track, because I read it. Everything goes back to the meanings that you put on words. How we were talking about $0. Everything's about the meaning. So whatever meaning you have attached to sin and what sin means to you. And like I said, I for me, sin means me not walking in what God desires me to walk in, me not teaching what I'm supposed to teach, me not moving in the way God desires me to move. I think that if me getting caught up, how we were talking about the political conversations, me getting caught up in political conversations like that and allowing that to affect my vibrational frequency, I'm in sin. It doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to me. Hold on. Oh, it was on time. It all loops back. It does end up. It does end up looping back all the time. It reminds me of God is not a respecter of persons at all. And so people really just have such a hard time with that when people sit up and they're like, but they're not, they're not good people. And I'd be like, to somebody, you might not be a good person. Somebody, you might not be a good person. I know for sure. Y'all know how many people, I get death threats regularly. Regularly. People think I'm not a good person. I think I'm a good person. But people think I'm not a good person because of my viewpoints. I think we can have different beliefs and we still be good people, but they don't. So I think we really just have to recognize that, like, when we're passing that judgment on people, it's based upon our views of the world. I always talk about that veil we see through in the world. We are seeing through veils, and our veils are woven and comprised of a bunch of things, but it all comes down to the veil that we're seeing through is our subconscious. So if we're seeing a veil through whatever our subconscious is, and our subconscious has been woven through our teachers, our civic leaders, our parents, now the media, things we hear on repeat, things we've read, as we've grown up. There are so many things that have gone into weaving the veil that we're looking through the world in, but we don't all look through the same veil. And I employ people to start breaking the veil that's over their eyes. Suspend judgment on everything, break the veil, and rebuild your own belief system, which takes time. It takes patience. It takes breaking away often, because that veil, typically the people around you have the same sort of veil, means breaking away from it and just rebuilding on your own. That's why how I end up with differing. But like I said, me and my mom are on complete opposite sides of politicals. I don't care. And I love her all the same. I don't even talk about it, but I love her all the same. Right? But we have to be willing to break away and build our own beliefs and discover what we find to be true for us and what works for us in our life. We have to be willing to do that. So many people are not. And so many people don't even recognize that that's what they're seeing the world through. Even today, like, oftentimes, things that I think and believe, I ask myself, why? Why do I think and believe this? Is this something I have innately carried? Has this been created over time? Was there an experience to make me this way? But I am a self-development girly, right? I want to know, like, why do you believe this? I tend to like to have, like, some sort of facts or data to back up my beliefs, not emotions, feelings, etc. Most people are not like that. And that's why I'm able to be as stoic as I am about things. Is why I was able to sit on CNN in the midst of people who everybody in the room was on a different spectrum than me. And I'm the only unemotional one. Even when I watched it, I said, oh, they so emotional. My God, how they sleep at night? Baby, I left there and went and had a really great time the rest of my day. I know they went home and was upset. Why would you let an 8 minutes, 16-minute segment, 2 8-minute segments move you like that? I'm stoic because I move off facts of anything. It's even when it comes to, like, what we teach biblically. Remember, I left the church completely. I went completely science backed first, and then I rotated back to God, and wanted to have that science backing and make that make sense to me with the word. You know what I'm saying? You say probably don't sleep. Listen, because I can't be upset like that. I cannot. The worst thing to do is get me excited before I go to bed. Man, now I'm up all night. Mm-mm. But that's important to me. But a lot of people don't move on that. But I had to just go through a period. It's a lot of things that I didn't realize that the reason it happened was because, like, I went a year and then talked to my mom. It was a lot of things that removed me from people closest to me. And in those periods were my periods of huge growth as a human, huge growth. But I had to be removed from everybody around me and their thought processes and their opinions. And this was where I started rebuilding my relationship with God, what God meant, and all those things. You have to remove yourself. And what I think is happening now, people start to think because they got an amen corner, they right. I am one of those people. I can stand in the crowd of 100 people and be the only one, and I'm gonna hold my belief. If I truly believe my belief and I have data to back I will think the other 100 are slightly off. I promise. I'll be like, do that make good sense to you? Because let me show you the facts. Let me show you the data. I don't bend from pressure. Actually, I got like a little ticky boom boom. And I think that if people come emotionally and without any data, look, I think you can have emotions, but if you don't have no data, I'll be like, oh, like I feel bad for you. And I recognize that's unfortunately most people, even people who agree with me on different things. If they don't have any data, I'll be like, you need some data to back this up. Like, cause you just sound emotional and silly. Um, but that's just kind of how I am. Even down to biblical stuff. I feel like for me, I needed to know the science. I needed to know the actual physics. I needed to know about the quantum realm. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense. That's why I often say, like I started telling y'all, faith is manifestation. Like it is the same thing. The scriptures back up what we know of manifestation. Like it is absolutely right there. It's why I will argue anybody down about the conversation of having money in abundance and God. I will argue people, but all day, and I'm lying, I ain't gonna argue you down. I will fact you down, all the way down. I will start going to the source of words and bring it up and really, I can debate you to the end. I don't even know why people, they don't know me, so they don't know. Because I don't really say much that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I just happen to know enough about these things that I can have conversations. And if I don't really know, I get to being like, okay, what is the Hebrew root word for why you talking? I'm like, hold on, because let me see, because I don't know, because I be want to know what I'm talking about. Most people aren't like that. So even for me, I needed to be able to take that science and make it make sense, even with God, because God by itself, most people tend to speak emotionally only, or they think only about just the Bible. And it's like, for my brain, I needed that science as well to back that up. For a woman who was deeply in church most of her life and left church completely, coming back just on emotion wouldn't go work out, especially when I saw that the church often lives in ways that's not abundant. And I just didn't believe, from the relationship I had built with God, I didn't believe that's what God wanted for me. So I felt like everything that happened, me leaving church, me stepping away from my family, me pulling away from most friends, me being in these periods of solitude, were the times that I grew the most, because they allowed me to be able to stand by myself. The reason people got to stand with crowds is because they ain't never stood by themselves. They've never stood by themselves. I've stood by myself and cried, but baby, I'm a stand for someone, fall for anything, and most people really do. And no matter what we're talking about, they fall for anything. And so for me, even when I stepped away from church, you know how much pressure that was for someone that worked in ministry, and all my friends and family and everybody in church. That was a lot of pressure. Do you worship Satan? Do you do that? I still had to be able to step away. And then my faith way stronger than it. Like, I can talk about God in a way that I have my proof. I have the victorious. I have where God has shown up for me over and over and over. I have this unbreakable and unshakable faith. God has never let me down. I take that back. When God let me down, it was when I was in church before and I didn't really know what faith was, and I didn't know how to have faith, and I didn't know how to petition God, and I didn't know how to do those things when I had to step away and again rebuild. This is why solitude is so important. You got to be willing to, and when you come up with your ideas, when you come up with your things, be willing to stand by yourself and stand on them things. Because I mean that, like, I'm like, oh, so your God wants you poor. My God don't want me poor. God don't like that. I wanted some caviar the other day. God, I know you ain't give me no caviar, like literal caviar. Now the K not here because y'all know caviar don't come in a big container. That big one, a few $1,000s. I don't get that one. I get that one that's like 300, which is still a dang on lot for some caviar for a snack. Okay, I'm gonna get the little one. Okay, the little one. Imagine me getting the little one I had to share with K. Now K not here. I can get it. I know you ain't give me no for real. I like caviar taste. You know how people say that they not talking caviar. Like, I actually like caviar. I know you ain't give me no caviar taste and you want me to be poor? Nah, that's not of God. I know it's not. I know it's not. And God know I also love to give and to bless people. How do I do that and I don't have nothing? We can't give and grow the kingdom if we broke. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Girl, not up past your bedtime. I'm finna get off here in a minute. Everyone is raised and taught different. Yes, just taught a class about this. They probably don't sleep. You up all night. I'm sorry. I'm the main character in the script of my life. I dismiss people. I used to avoid looking at my bank account. Now I come. You listen. It's so important. Money has and will always be there. Sure will. Sure will. Yes, come from money. That's an Aquarius for you. We can stand on. You have to. Like, I don't understand. I be like, I've told my son about stuff. I be like, you know, you want no twin, right? You want no twin. You a solo birth. Pepper, stand on your own. We here for the holographic universe. I haven't even heard of this. Do I need to look this up? Do I need it? Founded at the restore's excellent reviews, and apparently the author mysteriously passed away after. Let's go look this up real quick. The holographic. So you just go pop up that quick? Okay. By Michael. That one? Michael Talbot. Oh, wait a minute. You found it in the thrift store. Baby, who is giving this away? I be so mad when people give stuff away. It's somebody probably died and they gave it away. Is this on Audible? Because I got 22 credits. My God, it is. Look at God. Look at God. I don't even know if it's good or not, but we about to get this right now in this moment. Hold on, because if not, boom. Thank you for choosing this title. She got it, okay? Listen Audible app. We won't listen right now, but boom, let's just go download it. All right. Thank you very much for that. Can you share credit? Just because you asked, I'll give you one. Shoot me an email at contact at now this the only person who asked, so this the person who go get it. But just because you asked, shoot me an email at contact at thestillwellsociety.com. Send me your information that's connected. I don't know if I need your phone number with, but I'll give you a credit. There's no honor in being broke. Exactly. Look at on the dollar. God's so good. You're welcome. Don't forget, contact at thestillwellsociety.com. And I got you. Girl, and she said the thrift store. And that's okay. We got on Audible. All right, y'all. I'm going to get ready to go. I hope you enjoyed tonight. We have been on for a very long time. We've been on with 3 hours. 7, 8, and 2 hours. Yeah, we got on at 7:30, right? We've been on 2 hours. We ain't had no business being here for no 2 hours. But that's okay. It was such a pleasure being here with you guys. You're welcome, Jasmine. We go stick to 1 for Sunday because we go talk. I see how this go happen. I see how this go down. No. Okay, so Tanisha, you not lost. She got it at the thrift store. I went and looked it up, and it said it was on Audible. So I'm like, since I have all these credits, I'm gonna get it on Audible. Yeah. It did feel like 30 minutes. I looked up like, why we been talking so long? Anyway, thank you guys so much. If you have not joined us inside of the Stillwell Society, the Stillwell Society .substack.com, or you can go to the stillwellsociety.com and it'll be a link to link you over there to join the Faith and Finances. But we're a really great community. I love all the ladies. I feel like we're a family. We're going to do a spiritual retreat next week. Child, not next week. Next year, we are going to do a spiritual retreat probably at the end of Q1. For members only. I'm putting it together now. We're going to put together a nice little trip. And we're going to have our own encounter. We're going to have our own encounter. And for those who do not know, just for the month of September, the Stillwell Society to join with the literary card was $29. On October 1st, it's going up to the regular price of $49. And so you get access to everything on the site, because a lot of stuff is locked. These full 30 days is locked after 24 hours. Like, a lot of stuff is like, we do have a lot of free posts, but that's locked. And as we move forward, at least 1 to 2 posts per week will be locked. Like my deep dives into certain things, different videos, live streams, stuff like that. But that's where the ministry is. We are supported through here, but my prayer is that I get to at some point do the ministry full time. At some point, I would rather be able to really focus over here with you guys. I just really love this work. I really love that even as a member, you get to reach out to me. I get to pray for you, all those things. You go rewatch it? Okay, cool. Definitely needed this. Good night. I'm falling asleep in the wish fulfilled. Yay. It's free on Hoop. Girl, see why you ain't say I may need have to use my credit. You know what? I need to use that credit anyway. I think after 22, they start throwing it away. You lose them. What is it? Use it or lose it? Anyway, you guys have a good night. Bye. Thank you.